No one expected the sky to speak. But on June 11, 2025, it did. The sleepy town of Yeoncheon, usually quiet and unnoticed, became the center of a global wave of emotion. There were no fireworks, no music blasting through the speakers, just the slow rise of massive balloons in the sky, each one spelling out a name that has comforted millions for over a decade. Jimin. And that was just the beginning of a day the world would never forget. Jimin, the voice of Honey, the dancer of Grace, the heart of BTS, had been away for 1 year and 6 months, faithfully fulfilling his military service. A silence had settled in the hearts of fans during that time. But the moment he stepped back into civilian life, it was as if the world breathed again. What waited for him wasn't just a welcome, it was a love story, written in banners, lights, music, tears, and memory. That morning, long before Jimin even arrived, a coffee truck appeared at the gates of the Yeoncheon Sports Complex. Not for the idols, not for the celebrities, but for the reporters. A gesture so subtle, so thoughtful, it told us everything we needed to know. This wasn't a PR event. This was Jimin's world, one where kindness matters most. And then, the sky changed. Huge advertising balloons and towering banners floated above the complex, transforming the atmosphere from military formality to something out of a fairy tale. Journalists paused their cameras just to take it in. One of them whispered, "It's like the sky itself missed him." Dozens of news outlets began reporting not just what happened, but how it felt. But while Yeoncheon was the emotional epicenter, the real storm of love was building in Seoul. In the bustling Yongsan district, where Hybe headquarters stands tall, fans turned the streets into a living tribute. 3 buses, wrapped from top to bottom in Jimin-themed designs, moved slowly around the building like guardians of his legacy. One displayed lyrics from his solo songs. Another showed his evolution, from debut to now. People on the street stopped, pointed, some even cried. They weren't just buses, they were moving memories. Then came the LED truck. Parked in full view of passing crowds, it played the Who music video, Jimin's emotional solo track, on a continuous loop. But it wasn't just a video playing, fans began to sing along, quietly at first, then louder. Soon, the street became a stage, a gathering, a celebration. Strangers held hands, tourists stopped in wonder. Even those who didn't know Jimin were caught in the emotion. And just when you thought it couldn't be more beautiful, it bloomed. The Jimin Blooming Garden appeared beside the building. A life-size sculpture of Jimin in his military uniform stood tall among soft blossoms and photo walls. Not just an idol figure, but a symbol. Fans lined up for hours to take photos with him. Some brought letters, others left flowers. A few just stood there, silent, hands pressed to their hearts. One fan, eyes full of tears, said, "He was always with us, now we get to be with him." But Jimin's love isn't confined by borders. It never was. In Japan, something incredible happened. Not 1 city, not 2, but 4 cities, Sapporo, Yokohama, Nagoya, and Fukuoka, lit up their landmarks in his honor. Purple lights, golden rays, animated displays of his smile. Fans gathered beneath the glowing buildings, singing BTS songs, holding signs that read, "Welcome back, Jimin." Even Fuji TV, a major Japanese broadcast network, sent reporters to cover the scene. Interviewers spoke to fans who had flown across the country just to witness it. One woman, clutching a hand-drawn portrait, said, "I waited 547 days for this. It was worth every one." Meanwhile, in Kazakhstan, fans stunned the world with a tribute on an epic scale. On June 11th, the day of his discharge, Jusan Bank's media facade in Almaty lit up. Not 1 screen, but 2 entire buildings. Towering walls turned into a giant canvas of Jimin's face. His smile lit the skyline. His name shimmered like a beacon. Passers-by gasped. Drivers pulled over. It wasn't just big, it was overwhelming. Like the whole city paused to honor him. Fans online couldn't believe it. "Is that real?" someone tweeted. It was, and it wasn't a company promotion, it was fan-led. Armies did this, from Korea to Japan, Kazakhstan to the world. What Jimin received wasn't just attention, it was love. Pure, fierce, global love. But maybe what moved people the most was Jimin himself. Because while the events were grand, the lights spectacular, and the tributes unforgettable, Jimin remained humble, quiet, grateful, and when he finally spoke to fans, it wasn't rehearsed or polished. It was emotional, raw. "I missed you," he said, eyes glistening. I saw everything. I felt everything. Thank you for waiting for me. In that moment, a million hearts broke and healed. This wasn't just the end of his military service. It was the beginning of something new. A new chapter, a renewed bond, a deeper connection. Jimin didn't just return. He bloomed, and the world bloomed with him.